I mean, what about a future Tim Patrick sighting? Is there a prediction on when that happens? I mean, what do we do? When is that go into full effect? Because I think it was spoken about today. Allen Robinson and Tim Patrick still battling on the practice squad, going to get called up at some point. I don't know when we see the Tim Patrick era in Detroit. Maybe next week. Like, when does that eventually come to fruition? I really don't. I don't know what to expect.
When you need him. I mean, they don't need him right now. Like, I think they saw Jamison Williams, wide receiver 2, stepped up big time. They didn't really need to go to Khalif. Amon-Ra still didn't show up, and they still were able to win the game. If I had to be like, by this time, it'd probably be again after the bye week because it's so early. You let him kind of acclimate. You get him a full game plan if he's going to play against Dallas. But at the same time, like Tim Patrick or Allen Robinson, they can still be activated, and you won't see them on the field because they're at the bottom of the depth chart. So it'll be interesting to see. If I had to guess, probably around the bye week or if there was an injury to happen. But until then, probably looking at the same receiver core right now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Boone, can I propose something to you?
Yeah, go ahead, because I have a statement after you're done. So I want to hear what your proposal is first before I make mine.
Maybe not a proposal, but it's my take on this whole thing. I don't think, and this is why I'm going to go to you on this. Are we, after seeing week 1, I understand that Ben Johnson's offense, they spread the ball around. I'm well aware they're going to get more guys involved. We've seen it happen. Are we seeing it now play out? If Tim Patrick's out there, how much is he going to do? Let's be realistic here. Okay, you see how good J-Mo is. You see Amon-Ra's going to bounce back. Sam Laporta. They didn't really even use Khalif last week, which I know will change. They're going to use him more and more. Jahmyr Gibbs will be, just like we said it before the season, he's in the passing game as well. I mean, what's going on with Tim Patrick? Maybe we don't even need Tim Patrick, Boone. I'm just saying it, Boone. What do you think? I'm just saying it. I'm throwing it out there. What do you think?
So, as people know, I was the one that was really big on the wide receiver 4 with this Detroit Lions group all offseason. We went to so many training camps, and I was Donovan Peoples-Jones isn't it. From the jump and mini camp, like, we have to go get someone. After watching Sunday night, I will say this. My tone has changed a little bit when it comes to this wide receiver situation. And it's weird because they didn't play good on offense. So it's like, how can you even tell? Like, the fact that you don't need another wide receiver because Khalif, if you're able to go do what you did on Sunday night and win a game still, even though it was overtime and it was basically essentially you won the game running the ball with D-Mott, absolute bully, shout out, go buy the merch. I just think, like, Amon-Ra's not going to do what he did ever again this season. Like, Amon-Ra's going to be involved. Khalif Raymond will never not get a target again this. I will guarantee you that. Like, Khalif Raymond will start to get more targets because his offense is going to run more plays. This was the conversation on Monday morning, guys, when we got in that little argument. And my head that I was thinking was, like, I get where people are thinking, hey, maybe they're just going to run the ball the whole time. They didn't get to any plays, it felt like. Like, they only had a certain amount of possessions that were longer possessions. I don't know what their play count, essentially. I guess I can go do some homework tonight and see their average play count on offense last season to see how big of a difference it was. They didn't have a lot of play counts or plays that they ran. And I think Khalif gets involved. Amon-Ra's obviously going to get involved. Laporta's going to get involved more. Knowing that D-Mont's going to be basically the main running back when it comes to being the bell cow. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get more touches off, in the pass game. I don't think there's like Jeff, to your point, like I'm a little with you. Like, it's not that I want to change up my narrative and switch what I was thinking all offseason, because I still think it's good to have a big X wide receiver out there and have that. But I think it's more so, and in my mind kind of switched this weekend. I think it's just situationally. Like, I think it's a situational thing with the Tim Patrick. And I think they're just sitting there and they're like, hey, no one's picking these guys up off the practice squad. They're on your practice squad. So you're sitting there and you're like, let these guys just keep getting better. And even with Donovan Peoples-Jones and Allen Robinson and Tim Patrick, like, let these guys just keep working, learning the offense, especially Allen Robinson and Tim Patrick. Let them just get Ben Johnson's offense and figure this out. Because like if they do end up, like if Tim Patrick ends up getting back to what he was before the injury, that's a weapon, and that's something like you add to this offense that you don't have. Like Dan said it all the time through training camp. He was like, "Yeah, we just don't have an X wide receiver." Like, and he said, "We'll go play all season without one if we need to." Like we have guys that can fill in spots and make plays. Like, and we have schemes around it. But if you add an X wide receiver to this offense, that changes so much more. Like that makes you that much versatile on offense, and you have another piece of the offense that someone else has, like they have to take account to. So like if Tim Patrick gets to a point to where he's healthy back from that injury, and you feel comfortable enough, I think there's situational like things that they're going to put them in, and they'll move Tim Patrick up this week. I don't know if it'll happen this week, and maybe it will, but I'm not sitting here like you have to get one of these guys up. You need another wide receiver. And no, I'm not worried about it. Like if they felt like they needed an extra wide receiver that bad, it wouldn't have been Tom Kennedy, and it would have been Donovan Peoples-Jones on Sunday.
Yeah.
So like they obviously felt like it's not that big of a deal to them, but situationally, or knock on wood, if there's an injury that kind of arises, all right, you've got 3 vets sitting back there ready to roll. And I think that's a very positive thing to think about with it when it comes to depth. Hey, the people who say I don't change my tone sometimes, there you go.
Hey, Boone, I agree with you 100%. Like everything you just said, I'm in absolute lockstep. I think Tim Patrick, in terms of need, I'll concede to they need an X. Okay, 100%. Yeah, I'm with you. That's fair. They don't have too many of those on the roster. He'll be good situationally. I agree with that. Now, in terms of how much of the Tim Patrick show you'll see, Klotzy, I think he'll be more of a it's not about him as a player. Like someone put in there, I think it was Sick argument. Shout out to him. He was like, "Oh, he caught 100 in the last 104 ball." I'm not coming at him as he's a good player. I'm just saying to Boone's point, like everything Boone was talking about, like how much of Tim Patrick do you think, in your opinion, Klotzy, like how much you think when he does come back, what does it look like?
He'd be like situational, like I said it before. Like when J-Mo was a rookie, the only time you saw him out there was when it was in the I form formation and Jason Cabinda and Jamal Williams were out there. And pretty much every fucking time it was a run. And you just keep Jamison Williams out there as a decoy as a threat down the field, and J-Mo could block. I think Tim Patrick could be used on like a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. If you want to take a deep shot to him, go for it. But I don't think that's why you have him out there, more so to block. And in the red zone, I think Tim Patrick in the red zone is where he's best at. He's a 6'4" wide receiver, 200+ pounds. He's very physical. So even like you could throw up a jump ball to him. He can use his body to create leverage for a slant or a comeback, anything like that. But I don't think he's a guy that's going to have 400 yards for this offense. I could see him having 100 to 200 yards probably max, and maybe a touchdown or two situationally late in the season if there's an injury. But I just think to what you guys were just saying, like having those vets back there, it's something that you'd rather have compared to undrafted rookie. Like if they were to have Caden Davis out there, like I think all of us would be stressing more than compared to Tim Patrick or Allen Robinson. But it's going to be Tim Patrick. I think Allen Robinson, it's not like I want him off the team, but I don't think we'll ever see Allen Robinson on the field, at least during the regular season.
Yeah, we all agree. We're all on lockstep there. For people that are just joining, in a couple of minutes here, John Macroon will be joining the program every single Wednesday. Legend. He does that. Can't wait to pick the Doc's brain on this. I want to bring up some comments here. Sick argument. Okay, a little more detail. Ben Johnson last year, 70% of games they hit 5 different wide receivers, not including Laporta, and the rest was 4. And it's a great point. Like I get that the ball does get spread around. I guess my question, and this is just me genuinely asking, and you guys can answer this, with the emergence now of J-Mo, with Jameer getting more targets. Like, does that, and now with other guys they have that are capable, like I think Isaiah Williams is a good player. If his numbers called, I think he can contribute. Tim Patrick, I think he will contribute. So, yeah, like that makes sense. None of us are arguing they're only going to use 3-4 guys. I think it's just how much of Tim Patrick will they use, and we all agree situationally, because at the end of the day, you have guys that are going to take that jump statistically in the receiving realm. And that's what we've been saying for the last couple of months, and you're going to see that play out, in my opinion. Yeah,
I just felt like on Sunday, it was a little shocking that other guys like Amon-Ra and like Khalif weren't getting more involved. I just think it was just the way the game played out, and it was a one-off. I again, like the Tom Kennedy, and Tom Kennedy was in there on offensive snaps. He was blocking, but he was out there like there was times where I think he ran a couple routes, and to be honest, he just didn't get a look. But like I do think, like to Klotzy's point, like you get Tim Patrick up, again, it adds another element to the offense that Dan and them are looking for. I don't think it's something that they're not trying to do, and Tim Patrick isn't good enough. I think it's just, all right, whenever he's ready. Like, that's it. Like, hey, when he's ready, and then you do add that other receiver. Like, I look at it a lot like 2 seasons ago with DJ Chark. Maybe I'm a little off on that, but I do look at it like DJ did get a lot of targets, but just more so like the downfield plays. Because, like, J-Mo is downfield, but he's everywhere. Like, J-Mo can play anywhere. He's not like a true X, in my opinion. Like, he can play in the slot. He can go in and out. Like, he does everything. I just think, like, the DJ Chark, how DJ Chark was just an X. And he would, like, those deep balls that he takes away the top of the coverage. Like, that's where I think that benefits. And I think they're sitting there waiting for one of these guys to be ready, because that does, like, your offense changes. Klotz, I'm sure you as a wide receiver, like, when you had a guy that could take away the deep threat, and then you had a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown and J-Mo, if you have all 3 of those guys out there and Sam Laporta at tight end, like, what are you going to do as a defense? It's impossible. And now you were talking, like, let's talk about Jahmyr Gibbs coming out of the backfield too. Like, it's impossible. And that's even if Tim Patrick has 0 catches. The presence of it, I think, is what's, like, known. But I'm not going to sit here and say, like, they need it, because we saw last week they can win games without even a guy like Amon-Ra going out there and putting up numbers.